the last 3 shots a goal when we were less than a goal down and missed them all, but not that I remember it very well.
Not that you're bitter and twisted at all.
No, not at all.
All right, players taking up position. Don't know much about the ruckman for Glenelg. Neil VV, I'm told, is VEA. Neil VV. He's 24 years of age.
I understand he's been playing in the Northern Territory,
right?
And been dominant in that competition. And big leap, very mobile.
Yeah, that's what my note has him playing for the NT Thunder. So that would be in the NEAFL, which is the North East Australian Football League, which encompasses both the NT side as well as sides from Brisbane and Sydney and Canberra. So here we go in the middle. And already behind the play, the umpire's picked up a free kick. There's been a high bit of push and shove in the forward line and a high shot. And as a result, a free kick in the middle straight away. Keogh, the captain of Westies, sends his side forward straight away. And inside 50, a mark first up as well.
Could only be one player to take a mark like that up there, and that's Mason Middleton. They go to him all the time, and he doesn't let them down very often at all. He's taken a real good contested mark playing in front.
7 goals, 2 for the season for Mason Middleton. And Middleton will line up. He's only about 40 out. And we'll just get a gauge of the night and what sort of kicking can be done, because he'll have to carry this every bit of 50 metres. So Middleton comes in.
We'll get the journey all right.
And he does, and he gets the direction pretty right as well. And he's happy about it. And Westies have got the perfect start to the game. Without the ball even being bounced in the middle, they get a goal. It's 1 goal straight to no score.
Yeah, only 2 possessions in the game so far, and one's been a kick to the full forward, and the full forward kicked the goal. It'll be a pretty simple game sometimes, but I expect it's going to get a bit tougher than that for West Adelaide. As it was obviously an undisciplined act by a Glenelg player. It looked like it was in their back line, in their forward line.
So congratulations to Mason Middleton with the first goal of the quarter, and that's our sponsor, Dr. Darren Waters, sports injury, knee, hip surgeon. So first goal of the game for Westies, and a free kick out of the middle, this time for Glenelg. So to keep it nice and even, Malira inside 50, ball punched to the front, no clean possession. And finally, it's Ian Malira picks it up, and he snaps at goal, and he's got the distance, and he's got the accuracy, and oh no, he's just had the ball touched off his boot, signalled the goal umpire. So it's a 5-point game, and Ian Malira sharp, and his brother Terry sharp as well to get the ball down forward for Westies, for Glenelg.
The Malira are real threats, and so are the West Adelaide small forwards with Rankin, Kenny Carpenty, Aaron Anderson up there. They wreaked havoc against South, especially in the first quarter. So the small forwards are going to play an important part in this game, especially being a night game when it can get a bit dewy as well.
So ball out on the far side of the ground, and that was in the hands of Hill, and Hill sent it down the ground, down towards centre wing. It comes back, Snook off the pack, couldn't get a clean possession. Curran was in there as well, came back to Snook, who's already got a headband on, if you like, to protect what obviously must have been a cut from last week. The umpire will come in and separate the players as the ball fell to ground. So we get a ball up, left half back for Westies out there on the outer side of the ground. VV just knocks it down. They want to keep it in close. Curran with the snap, down to half forward with his kick, and a mark taken in there by Ian Malira. Outside with a hand pass straight away, and Motlop closing to within 40 metres, and no mistake. Very good finish.
That's a stoppage goal for Glenelg. Motlop was at the stoppage and ran forward when it went Glenelg's way, and it wasn't pursued by West Adelaide midfielder. It was a bit slow, West Adelaide's midfielders, to break from that stoppage defensively. He was able to get a handball receive. Glenelg's forwards playing in front, Malira playing in front, gave the quick give, and it was a goal from just on the 50. A bit too easy, actually. A lack of defensive pressure out of the stoppage by West Adelaide.
So first lead change of the game, and the first goal of the game for Glenelg. So 1-1-7 plays 1 goal straight for Westies. Back in the middle. And a quick clearance again. This time, the way the game's gone, this clearance out of the middle should mean a goal for West Adelaide. Noble, a little bit of a fumble. Then he sends his side deep forward, 25 out from goal. Well, there were a couple of players there for Glenelg who fumbled the ball, and they've given West Adelaide the chance to come back. Coming out proud with a hand pass nicely to Curran, then he slipped it away. And under pressure from in the back line was Chalmers, but he finally got it out near defensive 50. VV, there was a throw in there, said the umpire. VV was about to pick it up. The umpire picked up a throw. And so it'll come quickly to Keogh with the hand pass he received from Logan Hill, and Keogh drives it up. That was an awful punt. He got it to 25 from goal. Ball somehow has been managed to be kept in. Hand pass shared out there by Carpeny, but not before the ball had gone over the line. It'll be recalled. It's about 15, 20 metres around from the goals that are being attacked at the moment by West Adelaide.
Yeah, some good pressure there for the West Adelaide small forwards to hold the ball in, but I'm not a big fan of the handball around the back when there's not enough time and space for the kicker to get a decent run at it.
So ball back into play, and I think VV has interfered there, coming over the top of his opponent, and it'll be a free kick straight away for West Adelaide. They'll get a shot at goal here.
The coach's pet hate is a ruck free kick because it's unnecessary really. If you just let the other ruckman win the hit even and then just put some pressure on it when it hits the ground, you can avoid that. And as it is, Tyler McPherson lines up from about 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
Has not successfully had a shot at goal this season. He might have kicked one out on the full. We don't have those stats. 0-0 for Tyler McPherson.
There's a chance here.
And he comes in, hits it at the right post, and it swings through for another goal for Westies. A good start, another lead change early in this match, and we've gone through 5.5 minutes. West Adelaide 2 straight 12, Glenelg 1-1-7.
Glenelg will be ruining the opportunities though for forward of West Adelaide. One was the first before the centre bounce. It was a free kick and it resulted in a goal to Mason Middleton. And then this one, which was a ruck free kick deep inside West Adelaide's forward 50. So, you know, two things they could have controlled a bit better, which cost them goals. So they'll be looking to get that back with the centre clearance here.
5-point margin in favour of Westies. Fascinating start to the game, very open in so many ways. Out of the middle, Snook just slipped the hand pass out, and they'll go forward again. Glenelg through Shot, and Shot gets it down inside half forward, and there was a mark there, said the umpire. No, it's a push, and it'll be a free kick for Westies. Now, what sort of space have they got to swing the ball? Well, they've decided to come this side of the ground, and the ball just sitting up a bit for Waite, who had to wait, but they get away with it, and down towards half back. Mark taken by Zach Bates, and Bates off the left foot goes down towards centre wing. VV comes from behind, knocks it away from McPherson. Brilliant crumb made there by Noble. Up to half forward, just sat the ball up. Joseph going back for the bays, couldn't take the mark. And now he does make a tackle and he forces a ball up. But it's inside half forward for West Adelaide.
Turned out to be a good switch of play, even though it was it had to be centimetre perfect. And Noble just crumbing off the pack there was fantastic. Hit the pack at speed and got the ball inside 50.
So from the ruck contest, no clean possession. Curran tries to take it out for Glenelg. He's claimed immediately. We'll get another ball up. It's about 40 metres from goal.
Repeat ball ups is something that West Adelaide would like at this stage because they get repeat goes at having a scoring shot.
Like it was a tackle. Well, it was a tackle the umpire let go, and a clearance by Curran, I think it was, for Glenelg high, and not great, but Terry Malira came in and cleared it back over the centre for the Bays. But back there, the only player back there was Wilson, wasn't it, for Westies, and Wilson's taken it wide, and they'll get another chance to go inside their attacking 50.
The Glenelg forwards have all pushed right down the ground. There's no one for Glenelg behind the forward edge of the centre square for West Adelaide at the moment. So they've really, despite that happening, West Adelaide have found a really easy kick inside 50, and I think it's Zach Bates that's taken the mark. It is
Zach Bates who's taken the mark inside 50, and it was just ridiculously easy. They were able to open up, and so Bates will have a shot at goal.
Yeah, Mark Stone wouldn't be happy with that. They had all their players in the back half, and they still got it. West Adelaide still got an easy inside 50 kick, and he's hit the post.
He has. Zach Bates, he looked reasonably confident, but not certain that he'd kick the goal. And as it turned out, a poster takes it to an even 6-point margin in favour of West Adelaide. 2-1 plays Glenelg's 1-1. So the ball back on the outer side of the ground, and the Bays moving it short, and they go back to Curran, then finally back inside 50. And
the switch was on there and they didn't do it, and they've gone down the line and found a target, but they're going to have to go long down the line again. No, they've switched it backwards.
They've gone back to their skipper Curran, just sitting outside defensive 50. He's gone back to Max Proud, 25 from goal, straight out in front. And then he's come out to this side of the ground to Slade. Slade's gone back inside to Joseph. They're still inside defensive 50 though. Joseph clears to the far side of the ground again. Ball dropped there, easiest of marks by shot, but he recovers enough. Finally, they get a good clearance and a chance to go down the ground, and they go down towards half forward, and Scott comes from behind. He just flies hard, and gee, hit Josh Ryan heavily in the back. Good courage, Josh Ryan. He knew something was coming, but he stood his ground and just made a contest and forced the ball to go over the line. So ball out of bounds, right half forward, out there on the eastern side of the ground for Glenelg. VV comes from behind, gets the tap down. Not a bad tap as it turns out in the end, picked up by Scharenberg inside 50 and high. They fly, they're pack of 4 or 5. And the man we were just talking about there, Josh Ryan, coming back, couldn't take a clean possession, and the ball's gone over the boundary line in the end. Umpire trying to separate the players who seem like it's a little bit cool, so we want to warm ourselves up by having a little bit of a scuffle. Umpire's awarded a free kick, and now 25. Scoreboard in the background. West Adelaide 2-1-13, Glenelg 1-1-7 after 10.5 minutes. So that kick from Agostino down the ground towards centre wing. Ball to the ground, picked up by Noble. Dummies a hand pass and then goes dangerously into the middle of the ground. And as it turns out, it was turned over. Brad Close came through, took the mark. They'll go down to half forward looking for Scott. It's over his head, but he comes back, makes a tackle, gets over the ball and gets rewarded with a high free kick. So Josh Ryan, the offender there. Yeah, John Noble had the opportunity to go a little bit longer there in the switch to Murray Waite, but he chose a one-on-one option instead, which has caused the turnover and resulted in a free kick, or a free set shot for goal for Glenelg from about 50. So Scott against basically 5 metres in from the fence line out there. It's a good kick. He can kick the ball a long way. When you say he's a good kick, he's 8 goals, 9 this season. So here he comes, he thumps it, he's got the distance, high. He's got the distance, or has he? Ryan might have touched that right on the line. The goal umpire says no, the ball was already over. So you know your man, Mark, he got the distance by about half a metre. Yeah, I was probably a bit lucky with that one. And scores a level 2-1-13 apiece. He's a terrific player, Josh Scott. He's a very mobile, big fella, jumps and launches himself at the ball, and he's right in contention for a state berth this year. After a couple of really strong seasons for Glenelg. He's hard to match up on because of the fact he's very versatile. He can play well on the ground level, and he can also play well, obviously, as a aerialist. Got a good pair of hands. I think he's got Chris Burgess on him at the moment, and he's a really good. It'll be a really interesting matchup for the rest of the game for sure. So back in the middle, another clearance for West Adelaide. The hand pass goes wide, finds Agostino. Down towards half forward he goes with his kick. Schiller picks it up, and inside half forward, no, there was player over the mark, I think, so it'll be a 25-metre penalty, and Schiller will have an opportunity. Well, is this beyond his distance? Yes. So he goes short, and Logan Hill with the mark, 40 out, maybe a bit more, and he's basically straight in front, and Logan Hill can make the distance from this sort of angle. Yeah. Glenelg coach Mark Stone will be a little bit disappointed with some of the discipline at the moment. There was a free kick before the game was even commenced that resulted in a goal, the forward pocket ruck infringement, and then a 25-metre penalty then, and it's cost them another goal. So 3 goals all gone West Adelaide's way. West Adelaide have earned them, but Glenelg have contributed big time into with their lack of discipline in the first 3 goals that West Adelaide have scored. So Logan Hill with the goal. And West Adelaide move along 3-1-19, plays Glenelg 2-1-13 through 13 minutes of this opening quarter here at City Mazda Stadium. So, ball back in the middle. And VV just overran it. McPherson got the tap down, then there was a tackle, and the umpire called Keogh had successfully made the tackle, holding the ball. He'll take the free kick for Westies. They'll go forward again, down to half forward. Long lead up. Ball comes to the front. Agostino with the tackle. Comes loose. Jono Beach did pretty well. They got it back all the way to Paul Pleasure. I think it's his first touch for the evening. Then he got it off to Stevens. Inside 50, bullet pass.
Or as a bullet pass, but I don't think it was intended for the player who ended up with it. I think it's Isaac Rankin who's got it, is that right?
Isaac Rankin.
And it was intended for someone just to his right. I've just forgotten who. It might have been Zach Bates. But anyway, Isaac's got it. He'll get the journey. 45.
So, Rankin, in he comes. Obviously likes his chances. He never looked anywhere but at the goals. He's got the distance and it's just slightly hooked for the minor score. So that margin extended to 7 points in favour of the home side, West Adelaide. And Glenelg already away. So 14 minutes in and West Adelaide by 7 points. Bayes intercept. They're going to go back inside forward 50. Keogh thought about
Smart kick.
Outside he went. Inside 50 they'll eventually go. Big pack. Oh, nicely pulled down. The mark taken there by Carpeny.
Yeah, he's a left footer. He, for a little bloke, he gives himself a lot of opportunity to kick goals, Kenny, during a game. He'll regularly have 4 or 5 shots, and it was good to see him kick a couple of goals the other night without missing. It's just one area of the game that he can tidy up. He's a fantastic tackler. Enormous pressure on the opposition in the West Adelaide forward line. He just needs to finish and reward himself with his goal kicking.
3 goals, 5 for the season. And he snuck that one in. I was watching him and he was running away and then he wasn't certain that he'd actually kick the goal. So he's got 4-5 for the season. He's got the 4th one for Westies tonight. 4-2-26 West Adelaide. Glenelg 2-1-13 after 15 minutes.
Yeah, Kenny Carpenter, really underrated player. I get under the guard a bit of opposition teams at times. He just come off the ground for a rest, but the pressure he puts, he's a tackling machine. He can play in the midfield as well, and he's very good aerobic endurance.
13-point margin in favour of the home side. Ball back in the middle. McPherson with the tap down. Schiller comes through, shares the hand pass with Keogh. Keogh down to half forward immediately with his kick. Out into the path of Jono Beach. Beach picks it up. He did have some support, and they've got more support as they go backwards to go forwards. And then kick wasn't the greatest, and it was intercepted. Umpire will probably make, that's Amato taking the mark, the former North Adelaide player. Umpire, I thought, might have called 50 then, but Amato goes inside to Snook. With the mark, Snook gives it back to Amato. He spreads to this side of the ground to Nicholson for the Bays. Inside defensive 50 still.
West Adelaide have been very good at stopping Glenelg's switch, and they've made them go back the other way once again. So they've been able to work really hard in their press, their defensive press as a unit, to stop them from penetrating with the switch.
So it was Scharenberg and Hawkins then involved, and then they work it to the far side. Now they try the centre corridor. They found Joseph, and he decides to go high and long, and Ian Malera, or rather Terry Malera, lost his player effectively and then turned onto his unnatural or unpreferred left foot, and he found his brother about 25 out, and Ian Malera takes the easiest of chest marks, running back to goal and then finding some space. Yeah,
just as I said, West Adelaide have been very good at stopping the Glenelg switch, but on this occasion, Glenelg found a couple of holes in West Adelaide's defensive structure, and it was just a bit too easy. West Adelaide defence had pushed up, and Malera got out the back, and the ball landed in his chest.
Second shot at goal for Ian Malera. Last one was a snap. Ball was touched off the boot. He comes in from 25 and no sooner left his boot than he had his hand in the air. So the Bays get one back. West Adelaide 4-2-26. Glenelg 3-1-19 after 18 minutes. Yeah,
it's one of the things about the modern game is that you get a lot of walking goals now because defences press right up the ground and it leaves a lot of space behind. And if the team attacking with the ball can find a space in the midfield amongst the opposition structure, it's an easy one out the back, and that's where your press has to be really well maintained as the opposition switch the ball.
So back in the middle, 7 points the margin in favour of Westies. out of the middle. It'll be a clean possession for Amato off his non-preferred right foot. Gets it down to half forward. They'll get possession through Snook, who went to ground. Solid challenge by Schiller. And now Pleasure with a sneaky little couple of hand passes. They get away. Through Beach down towards centre wing. Pace.
Zach Bates.
Good pace from Zach Bates. But he's challenged by a couple of Bays players. And eventually, does he offend? It looked like he tackled his Glenelg opponent before he touched the ball. The umpire now calls for a ball up. So right half forward.
Good play from both sides. Just a real competitive effort by Zach Bates and the two Glenelg players as well. West Adelaide will be happy with a ball up at that position.
Keogh, I'm not sure that he legally got that ball out, but they've managed to take possession. They share the ball through the hands. It finally came to Schiller, and then his hand pass off to Batley. And Batley, the former Woodville West Torrens player, delivers the ball just too long for his target. And Curran goes back, takes the easiest of marks. The Bay skipper decides to go short and wide, and very wide. And was it out on the full? No, it wasn't. So they'll retain possession. Down the line they go.
West Adelaide will be very aware of Glenelg's last goal. They got it from a similar position where they switched the play and then switched it back again. And that found holes in their defensive action. But this time Glenelg have had to go down the line.
Chalmers didn't have any choice, and the ball does go down the line. And then the long sleeves of Hosey, he came over the top and took a 2-grab mark. And that was the problem in the end because the second grab was over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in. It's just slightly ahead of half back for Glenelg out there on the eastern side of the ground. Ball down. Schiller did pretty well in there for West Adelaide. Away from the pack, sends it long, and Curran comes over the top, takes a chest mark. He came over the top of one of his own men and took the chest mark at half back, just inside defensive 50. Now they try the switch. Joseph is in the corridor. He sends it wide. And it is on for the Bays. Down the line the ball goes. Hosey with the mark. Or rather, close it is with the mark. So close for the Bays. Takes his time and just got a little bit under his kick, but he got it down to centre wing successfully. And a mark there for Nick Amato. Amato sends it short. So this is the way the Bays want to play it. They want to keep possession. Motlop now. They didn't gain any ground forward. And Noble gets pinched 25 metres for not going east-west on the mark, but rather slightly towards the south.
Yeah, it's one of those rules I brought in which probably needs to be reviewed a little bit, I think, but at the same time, the players know what the rule is and they need to be able to play to that rule.
Motlop in 50, inside 50, it was an awful kick, came off the instep, and Wilson for Westies taking the mark defensively, looks down the line straight away. Numbers there favour the Bays, and the mark straight away taken by Close, who sends it inboard. They've got some numbers, back to Chalmers for the Bays, and he looks inside forward 50, sends it high. The big leap, it falls for Malira, and that was Terry that time, off the left foot, sends it down towards the goals, eventually rushed through for the minor score for the Bays, and they trail by just one straight kick now.
It's just been a bit of a competition between who can switch the ball and advance it with a bit of speed and who can defend that situation better. Both teams have had their opportunities to switch, and sometimes have been a bit reluctant to move the ball on quickly and take a bit more of a chance.
Well, this is what they're doing at the moment. West Adelaide, Logan Hill, the veteran, if you like. Down the line he goes with his kick. Lots of numbers there. Pack of 8 or 9 forms up. Rankin gets their hand pass back, and then showing some good pace and getting away was Bates. And then he's trapped, and the umpire said too high. He was lucky to get away with that in the end. Kane Stevens was the man who received it. And he goes straight across the ground to the running Paul Pleasure off half-back. Didn't have to break stride. Sends it through the corridor. They've got Noble running. He's just on 50. Pushed as he kicked it. Inside 50 wasn't the greatest of kicks. And they go towards the line, the Bays, and successfully was taken across there by Todd Slade. We'll get a throw in the left forward pocket for Westies.
Yeah, terrific play by West Adelaide. The final kick inside 50 didn't hit, but the lead-up play was excellent where they switched the ball into the corridor, had a runner coming, and it goes to show how easily you can get it inside 50 if you're prepared to take a little bit of a risk and hit the target.
Middleton took front position, and the ball came back to Reynolds for the Bays and eventually over the line. Errant hand pass, or it was an errant hand pass in last possession, so it comes straight back in for West Adelaide, and Aaron Anderson has the mark, and he's only 25, well, maybe 35 metres out, virtually straight in front for West Adelaide.
Yeah, another one of those fairly controversial rules that they brought in with the last touch, and there was handballed under pressure over the line. Glenelg were a little bit slow in realising that it was a free kick to West Adelaide, and they didn't man up in enough time, and Aaron Anderson took an easy mark.
Yeah, it was Carpenter who got the ball back in straight away. He knew what it was about, and so he got it back to Anderson, who delivers a goal. And they just push out to that 2-goal lead again, West Adelaide. So they've kicked their 5th of the night. It's West Adelaide 5-2-32, Glenelg 3-1-19.
Another example of how sharp Kenny Carpenter is. He read the play straight away better than the Glenelg defenders, because they didn't position themselves to defend. They assumed it was probably going to be a boundary throw in. In fact, the ball was given to Kenny, and he kicked it straight to Aaron Anderson.
So
I'm just interested in Veve, if that's the way to say his name.
VV,
sorry. He's down for 197. I'll be surprised if he's that tall, but he can jump. And he's very mobile. And
he's got the tap down this time, and he follows up on the ground. Almost got a high tackle in there, but it came back for West Adelaide. They swing it to Batley on this side of the ground, and Batley goes high down towards half forward. It won't get that far. The bounce beats 3. Joseph read it for the Bays, and then the hand pass over the top. Didn't do his captain any favours, but he managed to get it off to Motlop, who does a 1-2 with Snook, but they're all going backwards. And then finally Motlop with the chip inside. The mark taken there by Hawkins. So Hawkins just chips inside again to Snook, and Snook goes all the way back. So they're just trying to find some space. Not succeeding at the moment. They've gone all the way back to the right back pocket, and then guarding the mark well was Keogh. And the kick there from Todd Slade was straight into Keogh, who knocked it over the line. We're going to throw in that left forward pocket, I should say.
Standing the mark well is one of the most underrated skills in the game, and if you do it properly, you can reap the rewards. Even if that wasn't smothered, it would have had to be kicked high, and you can achieve a lot by standing the mark correctly, and West Adelaide reap the benefit inside 50 again.
So VV perhaps had the better of that. It came down to Stevens, left foot snap. Oh, and the bounce is perfect. Westies have another one. And from that stoppage situation, as you say, Mark, it makes all the more valuable that smother.
Yeah, no, it's all a 1%er. You know, he could have argued with the umpire and stood on the mark and not been happy, but instead of that, he concentrated on the game and got the smother. Ball comes back into play from a boundary throw-in, and West Adelaide ended up with a goal. So, you know, there'd be a few things that the Glenelg coach wouldn't be happy with at the moment. Just little concentration, discipline things that have cost them, and West Adelaide have maintained their focus and discipline and reaped the rewards.
Game high margin for West Adelaide. 26.5 minutes gone in the opening quarter. 6-2-38 plays Glenelg. 3-2-20. Back in the middle. Neither ruckman gets a touch. It'll come away for Snook for Glenelg. He sends it out of the centre and high. Lots of numbers there, and it comes to Scott on the ground, picks it up and has a shot at goal and misses astray.
Just a good example of Josh Scott's versatility as a big man. You know, he's good. He had a real fly at that ball, then he recovered very quickly to have a snap at goal and just missed to the side, to the right-hand side. But the scoring going a little bit with centre bounce at the moment for the quarter. I'd be interested to have a look at the stats for the centre clearances, because the scores are aligned with centre clearances quite closely, I reckon.
Jason Porplesia brings it in, decides to go long, and Chris Burgess comes up and takes virtually an uncontested chest mark on 50, defensive 50. Now he sends it back to Porplesia standing at the top of the goal square. Plays on, his left foot, his left foot kick was accurate, but then his own player dropped it. He got it back again, and then he went out again the same way to Burgess. So Burgess is saying, let's calm down, boys, late in the quarter. We're nearly to the 28-minute mark. Sends it long, outside the defensive area, down the ground. It looked like a high tackle. Umpire called play on. Running away was Zach Bates. Gave off the hand pass and received one back from Batley. And then inside 50, long and direct with a kick. The bounce was good for Keogh. Tried to push off his man unsuccessfully. Umpire said holding the ball. Well, there was a chance for Westies right on quarter time. They didn't get away with it. And so at quarter time, if we look at that scoreline, it says West Adelaide have had a pretty good quarter. 6 goals, 238, Glenelg 3-3-21. It's a 17-point margin in favour of the home side.
Yeah, West Adelaide have been a little bit cleaner all round. An example was that last play. The ball was kicked long, offhand. Zach Bates hit the packet 100 mile an hour and took the ball really cleanly. And once again, West Adelaide found the corridor. And they got the ball over the back. Probably needed another 5 metres on the kick, and Tom Keogh would have run on and marked that one, but it wasn't to be. And he got tackled and holding the ball, and haven't turned it over quite as much as Glenelg have.
So quickly, Kane Stevens 8 for Westies, Schiller with 7, Batley with 7, and Keogh and Hill with 6 possessions for Westies. And for the Bays, before we just about get everybody off the ground and start the second quarter, leading the way, Chalmers with 8, Snook with 8, Chris Curran, the captain, with 7, and 6 possessions for Marlon Motlop for the Bays. So that's the stats to quarter time. We'll keep an eye on those throughout the match as we're just about to go with the second quarter of the Maccas League round 6 game here at City Mazda Oval. It's West Adelaide against the Bays. 6-2-38 plays 3-3-21 in favour of the Bloods. And out of the middle, Snook with a hand pass, VV with the clearance for the Bays, but it only gets down to about the centre forward position. A sliding mark taken there by Jack Evans, who spread the ball to the outer side. And they get the ball down towards centre wing. Jono Beach takes the mark, wide out on centre wing, and kicks the ball down the line and from behind. The punch coming from Joseph over the line for the Bays.
Yeah, West Adelaide would welcome Jono Beach back into the fray. He's a champion player at this level, and he takes a lot of marks, can go forward and kick goals, can play wing, can play across half back, play on ball. He can play any position, probably except for ruck.
He'd probably have a crack at that too, wouldn't he?
He would have he wouldn't blink an eyelid if you asked him to play there, but it's good to see him playing again.
McPherson and VV go at it. VV, nice little tap down, but no clean possession. That's instead to the Bloods, and Logan Hill goes back to go forward with a couple of hand passes. Finally, he tries a kick, and Nicholson smothers the ball off the boot, right dead centre wing out there on the outer side of the City Mazda Oval.
Just a couple of early signs that Glenelg have left their intensity a bit with a spoil or two and a smother on the far side. They probably weren't seeing a lot of that in the first quarter.
So ball thrown back in by the boundary umpire, and McPherson had the better of VV that time, but the Bays are the ones who take it away through Snook. Oh, and he just about got away, and then he was dragged down.
It's a great tackle.
Straight, it was Schiller who pulled him down.
Tackling machine, Schiller, an inside player.
Speaking of inside, he kicks the ball inside, and the mark taken there by Keogh. And now he comes to this side of the ground. Wasn't the greatest of kicks. In fact, didn't carry like he wanted. And so the Bays will come the other way. The intercept mark coming from White. And he handed it off. Now they get down to half forward. And the mark there taken by Ian Malera. And Malera, as his brother found him in the first quarter, now he's found his brother. So it's Terry Malera with the lead up. And he takes the mark. 35 out and straight in front, basically. Yeah,
that opportunity was created a little bit by West Adelaide. I think it was Jack Evans who tried to switch the ball out to this side of the ground, didn't put enough on the kick, and it was intercepted. And then the West Adelaide defence was caught all out of position, and it was an easy inside 50 play for Malera to mark and have a kick from about 40 out.
So Terry, Ian already has 1 goal tonight. Terry coming in for the Bays 4th, and he's pretty happy with the result, and he should be. So first goal of the quarter for Glenelg, and West Adelaide 6-2-38, Glenelg 4-3-27.
Yeah, just a good example of how switching the play can win a game for, create a goal for you, it can cost a goal. West Adelaide won't stop. I'm sure they won't stop trying to do that, but they just got to execute a little bit better than they did on that occasion. And well done to Glenelg player for the intercept mark. It was a very strong mark. I can't remember who was that.
It was Jesse White.
Jesse White. Really good to see him playing so strongly as a defensive role.
So you see there, Terry Malera with the first goal of the quarter, thanks to our sponsor, Bone Timber. So out of the middle again, kicked off the ground by Motlop, forward for the Bays. They've got another chance, and they've got another mark to White, that man we just mentioned. So White gets up quickly, into the pocket he goes. He was looking for Terry Malira, fell short of him. Malira played for a free kick, nothing coming. Westie's almost able to clear the area. Finally, it comes back to Motlop, and they look like they'll wander into goal. And Terry Malira has his second in a minute.
Yeah,
well, he staged unnecessarily for the free kick, but in the end, it worked out.
Glenelg will come with might have got a little bit of a probe at quarter time, I think, from Mark Stone, because they've come out with a little bit more fire in the belly. A bit harder at the contest and got the ball going forward and put a little bit more pressure on West Adelaide. West Adelaide will be looking to respond. They won't want to have a quarter like they had in their third quarter against South Adelaide a couple of weeks ago. They'll be looking to avoid that. So centre clearances have gone Glenelg's way. They've just been a bit more intense around that area of the game. So we'll see what happens in this centre bounce.
West Adelaide 6-2-38. Glenelg 5-3-33. So 5 points the margin, 4.5 into the second term. And clearance almost by Westies that time. Schiller was in there, and now they all pile in the larger of the two centre circles. Umpire comes in, says, give it to me.
Both teams playing with an extra player behind the ball at the moment.
So McPherson takes front position. VV comes around him, knocks it down. Westies almost get position. Umpire comes in, separates the players again, and says, I'll have it. Glenelg managing to take that ball maybe 5 metres towards their goal. Ball in the air again. And clearance will give it to Shot. And Shot got it down to half forward for the Bays. And now it looked like a high tackle. What does the umpire think? He's circling, and then he calls for the possession again to go to him. Luke Reynolds, the man in long sleeve for the Bays, doing the tackling there, holding the ball in. So it's between the centre square and the 50. And Snook out of the pack from a nice tap down, sends it long. Scott got under it and took a strong mark. Oh, he was under pressure, but gee, took that nicely. On the chest, as it turns out. Josh Ryan did his best, but he couldn't take it away from Scott for the Bays. He'll go back and have a look at the goal face from 35 out.
Yeah, Josh Ryan, known for his defensive tactics and ability to nullify a situation like that, but he's an exceptional player, Scott, and showed again there, he really goes at the ball hard in the air and very hard to stop. And Glenelg have just come with a little bit more venom this quarter, there's no doubt about that. West Adelaide have had very, very limited time in their forward half.
So it's 6 minutes into the second term, and Scott has this shot at goal to put his side in front after trailing by 17 at quarter time. And he's done it. Lovely finish for Josh Scott. Bays move along, 6-3-39. They lead by a point. West Adelaide, 6-2-38, 6.5 gone, second term.
Shades of Tuesday night week ago versus South Adelaide for West Adelaide. They were 27 points up at half-time, and I think they trailed by a point, or they're either in front by a point at three-quarter time, and similar thing has happened in this quarter. The opposition have come with a bit more venom, and they haven't responded at all. So be interesting to see if they can respond, at the 7 or 8 minute mark of the quarter and not wait for the coach to give them a bit of a probe at half time.
So fourth lead change of the quarter, and again, out of the middle come the Bays, down to half forward, no clean mark taken. Ian Malira was there, and so was Snook, who made the tackle for the Bays, and we'll get a ball up just outside attacking 50 for Glenelg. So VV did well, roved his own ball, but his kick was astray, went straight to Paul Pleasure in front of Scott, who manhandled him a bit. The umpire said not 25 out though from the goal face.
Jason Paul Pleasure was playing behind the ball at that time, and it worked to West Adelaide's favour because the quick kick fell right in his lap.
Oh, the ball's going to come back though. The Bays with the mark, and they'll be advantaged by a 25-metre penalty as well.
We were critical of Glenelg for that in the first quarter. Now West Adelaide starting to do the same thing with their just one undisciplined act.
One hand pass off to Motlop, and Motlop goes long. And from 45, he connects. And the Bays, all of a sudden, gee, it hasn't taken long. We are 8 minutes into the second term, and the Bays have forged an 11-point lead. It's Glenelg, 7-3-45, a 7-point lead, I should say. 7-3-45. West Adelaide 6-2-38. That's 7 points, and my maths needs some work. But anyway.
I think every goal that Glenelg kicked has just followed a centre bounce clearance. They've just taken it into their forward line and not let it come back out. West Adelaide back on their heels a little bit at the moment. They're looking to go man on man at the centre bounce. and see if they can just hold things up again. They'll be looking to get a couple of kicks and marks to slow the game down.
Out of the middle, Westies get the clearance this time, but it's been repelled and then picked up by Stevens, came through. Snook took him down. It'll be play on advantage to Motlop, who goes backwards and then picks out a sideways kick, and he finds Hawkins. So Hawkins at right half back for the Bays. Takes his time, goes inboard, dangerous kick. Noble was there to knock it away. Now it's in dispute on the ground, right in the centre of play. Finally, it came back to the man who was the original target, Chalmers. His hand pass off wasn't effective. Ball caught again in and under a pack, and the umpires will come in and separate the players who want a little bit of a scuffle. Involved there was Schiller for Westies, and there's still more going on. Still a couple of players lying on the ground having a bit of a wrestle. Umpire can't get the ball, that's the main thing. Finally, they separate, and the umpire throws the ball in the air. McPherson got his man away from the ball. It came to Snook, good clearance. Vivi then got the ball a little bit further forward as well. Now it's trapped in and under again, and Vivi's over the top, making sure it's going nowhere for the Bays.
West Adelaide push numbers up around the ball just to get repeat stoppages, which they've achieved at the moment, just to hold the game up a little bit.
They come away with the ball through Hill, and his high kick around the corner goes wide, and then a nice mark taken. Just using his body well was Andrew Bradley. Haven't called him often tonight. Bradley sends it out wider and short to Motlop. Motlop from about 60 out sends the ball long. Wasn't a great kick. Just dropped in shorter. So we're got a mark for West Adelaide back there. And it is Middleton. I thought it was him. And
they've put him behind the ball to get a little bit of control back.
They haven't had a lot of control in this quarter, that's for sure. Agostino out wide takes the mark and then kicks down the line, and umpire says, yep, marked by Jono Beach in a big pack. Beach on centre wing. Out on the boundary on the outer side. Stevens comes from behind, knocks the ball down once it is kicked. And then the Bays will come away again through Bradley. Bradley sends it back down the line. Big leap up there, and down was Beach. Falls to the Bays, and the Bays will get a chance. Down to half forward, another big leap, this time from Terry Malira. No result for him either. Noble picks it up, and he's tackled straight away, and the umpire comes in and says no prior opportunity to dispose of the ball. We'll throw it up. It's at left half forward for the Bays. They dominated the quarter. They've kicked 4 goals in the quarter to lead by 7 points after they trail by 17 at quarter time. Ball finds Reynolds, and Reynolds goes inside 50 for the Bays. Porplesia takes the mark. And in fact, is it a free kick? It is a free kick to Glenelg, so it must have been hit late because it was Josh Reynolds who's the man who's going to receive the free kick for the Bays. Or sorry, Luke Reynolds, I should say, who's going to free the kick.
This boy. He's going to kick it from just probably outside 50, but he's a prodigious kick, and I don't think they had any trouble with the distance. West Adelaide just back on the heels. Even when they got possession before, they didn't look to chip it inboard and just hold play up. They just kicked it long down the line, and it came back with interest.
So Reynolds comes in, kicks it from just outside 50. He has the distance and hooks it slightly. So just the minor score. Margin extended for Glenelg to 8 points at the 12-minute mark. So the short kick in to the forward pocket, to the back pocket for Westies, and then they go high outside defensive 50. McPherson, big jump at the ball, missed it, well, not completely, but almost. White picked it up, gave the hand pass off, and then the Bays will go high inside forward 50 again. Scott makes the big leap, comes to the front, and no clean possession. Yes, finally it comes out for Westies, and they'll manage to break from defensive 50 through Carpeny. Bates, is it? Bates chased, goes long with his kick down towards half forward. Joseph comes over the top, knocks it away. That was Carpeny who was the target. And then ball on the ground, still not inside. They're attacking 50 West Adelaide. Umpire will come in. Good tackle made there by Nicholson for the Bays on Burgess.
Good play by Zach Bates to get the ball and put it under his arm and bring it out the other side so they get a switch of play.
So the ball in dispute just outside the attacking 50 for West Adelaide. No clean possession. Umpire says no, give it to me again. just a metre or two in from the boundary line, and Nick Amato wasn't exactly happy with the way he was crashed into the turf then. Umpire throws it in the air. Again, off hands, and then Amato got it away. I thought he took it off his own player. The umpire didn't call it as a throw, and Middleton was probably lucky, tried to keep the ball in down the ground, and he was already over the line, which is just as well because he knocked it straight to a Bays player in Brad Close.
Good result for Glenelg just to get a quick kick out of that congestion and get a boundary throw in on the wing.
Ball back into play. Hand pass slipped out in the direction of Motlop, took it towards the boundary line. Umpire happy with that. So right in front of the race, right in front of our broadcast position, the ball to be thrown back into play. 14.5 minutes in the second term. Glenelg 7-4-46, West Adelaide 6-2-38. Westies no score in this quarter, 4 goals won for Glenelg.
West Adelaide got 2 behind the ball at the moment, Jason Pleasure and Mason Middleton, just to hold the play up.
Keogh tried to get the ball out of there with limited success, and then they got it back through to Burgess. He's tripped, or at least taken down just as he kicked the ball. Ball's finally picked up and scrambled forward by Waite, and then the umpire came in as John O'Beach took the ball. He's trying to get it out. Max Proud's got a hold of him. He won't let him go, and the umpire says, well, ball it up basically straight in front of the goals and 25 out.
Everything West Adelaide's doing is under pressure at the moment from Glenelg. They're finding it a lot hard to find some time and space. They want to hold the ball in, but it's not going to happen.
No, Bay's able to clear it away. They'll get it to centre wing, but it'll come back again. Mark taken there by Ryan, and they spread it, and they try and spread it back and away from one side of the ground to the other. As Wilson went to poor pleasure, so they move it out to the outer side. The question is, can they keep moving it? Well, they've got it down to half forward. Proud goes back with a flight, gets hit hard. He goes to ground. The Bays will get away with the ball through Bradley. Bradley tries to chip the ball outside 50, not successful. Rankin took it away from him, and then he turned it over. And now the Bays trying to attack from the back through Curran. He went back with a hand pass, and Chalmers takes possession of the ball, and he was pretty good. He just wandered around and then found his man outside defensive 50, and they moved the ball quickly down to half forward. Good play. Reynolds picks the mark up.
They'll have to wait for the numbers to get back because West Adelaide had 2 behind the ball, and they won't be able to kick it long into their forward line.
Well, that was a dangerous kick. Snook was brave to go back, and he absolutely got smashed, and the umpire said illegally so. So he takes the free kick, goes wide with a kick straight away, finds Amato. Amato, the stab inside 50, and VV comes out and takes a nice mark in the hands.
Nice looking player, VV. Yeah, Glenelg a bit smarter with the ball then. West Adelaide with 2 behind the ball aren't capable of, or shouldn't be trying to kick it long into their forward line because they'll be outnumbered. And Glenelg coming back the other way understood what they had to do. They held the ball up, waited for options to present themselves, and they ended up with VV having a shot for goal from about 45 metres out.
In his first season of SANFL Macca's League footy, he comes in, kicks it from 48. Only manages to make the goal square. Off the hands of the front here, Malira. He's got it off his left foot. Brilliant pick. Brilliant piece of roving from Malira. Yeah, and the Bays have cleared out in this second quarter. They've now got 8 goals, 4-52 on the board. West Adelaide 6-2-38. They are stationary and scoreless in this second term after 17.5 minutes.
Yeah, Malira's really need some close attention when the ball comes in long because they're so dangerous off hands in the forward line as crummers. And West Adelaide at the moment just unsure what to do with themselves when they get the ball. If they've got 2 behind the ball, they're going to have to hold the game up a little bit, wait for the troops to arrive and chip it around a little bit and look for the best option. They're trying to play a bit too fast with the way they've set up.
14-point margin in favour of the Bays, big second quarter. They've kicked 5 goals in this second quarter, and the Malira brothers have 2 apiece. Ball down to half forward again for the Bays. They swarm around looking for possession. Nicholson, or it wasn't Nicholson, in fact, it was Close who shared the hand pass. And then there's a free kick played to Motlop, I think it is. No, it's Terry Malira. So he's got the free kick for the Bays just outside the attacking 50. And he looks and he waits and he holds. And his skills are very good. You wouldn't doubt Oh no, that time he didn't find anybody. He just popped it up and said, okay, go to work, boys. Ball comes to ground off the fist. And there'll be a clearance there for West Adelaide. Joseph will come late to the pack, knock it away. McPherson picked it up. Unlikely rover, the ruckman, turned it over straight away for Westies to Nicholson. Spirals a ball inside 50. And it fell off the pack, and that time Ian O'Leary tried to be a little bit too cute with the outside of his boot instead of going with his left foot, and he put it out on the full turnover. Westies take possession. Yeah,
we saw McPherson probably needed to just take the ball over the line. Wouldn't have been given deliberate. Kept it back in play and gave Glenelg another opportunity, which they weren't able to take on this occasion. But so, once again, West Adelaide just going long down the line. They really need to be looking to chip it around and find some targets to get a few kicks and marks just to steady the game up and just move the ball forward slowly until they get a little bit more momentum going.
Well, they've gone down the line. The ball's come off hands of the pack and then out of bounds. Slade carried it over for the Bays. Ball thrown back in. Middleton with the best of the ruck contest. But again, Bays swarm around. Snook slipped down a hand pass. It's still play on. There's two of them out there now. Scharenberg's got the headband as well. And Westies take the ball forward. They slip it to Noble. Noble can go inside forward 50. He's looking for Jono Beach. Ball was knocked away from him. And the umpire spotted Beach was squeezed between two. And I did notice the hands came out and he did push in the back. So it'll be a free kick for the Bays.
West Adelaide desperately need to score before half-time just to get a bit of momentum and belief back in their game.
Bays go back to Nicholson in the defensive goal square, and they bring it this side of the ground. Ball comes to the front, knocked away there from Shot, picked up by Westies, and then the kick inboard wasn't great from Paul Pleasure. It went to Reynolds, and then Reynolds returned the favour. He went across the goals looking for Amato, and Beach went back and took a nice mark, and he's going to have a good look and a good chance for Westies' first goal of this second quarter. In fact, first score of the second quarter as we edge into time on.
We see that a bit. We've seen that a bit tonight, where both teams have taken the game on, tried to switch the ball, and both teams have rewarded themselves by doing that a few times, but both have also turned it over trying to do it. So we get Jono Beach with a shot for goal from about 35, every chance.
Beach comes in and hooks it. You've cursed him. Well done, Mark.
Yeah, no, shouldn't have said anything.
So Beach with a minor score and the margin cut back to 13 points. It doesn't seem like a lot, but given you were leading at 17 points at quarter time, Westies would be looking at that and thinking, boy, oh boy, we've got a bit of work to do. And umpires spotted that Joseph went over the line in kicking the ball back into play. So at the top of the goal square, we're going to get a ball up.
Well, Glenelg giving West Adelaide a couple of opportunities here. They've got to take one of them.
See if they can do it. Ball's knocked down by White for the Bays, and Amato off his left foot clears it outside the defensive area. It's going to come back again. Noble sharing the ball around, and they'll go deep. West Adelaide, and a big mark, a huge mark taken there by Rankin.
Rankin, of course, who else?
He got a good lift there, and he just showed you why there are AFL scouts who are absolutely salivating at the opportunity to snatch this kid in the draft. He comes in from the top of the square. Lovely mark, finished by a goal. Westies have their first of the second quarter. It's only taken 22 minutes. Glenelg 8-4-52, West Adelaide 7-3-45.
We can see they're only just over a goal down, and that's exactly what they needed just going into half time. There's still probably 5 minutes to go in this quarter, but Isaac Rankin doing something like that just lift the spirits of the whole side, and it hopefully, for West Adelaide's point of view, will give them a bit more impetus at this next play. Glenelg have had all the play this quarter, and it's interesting that they're not further in front really by the scoreboard, but let's just see what effect that mark from Isaac Rankin has on the rest of this quarter for West Adelaide.
Well, the thing is, it was a quarter, or it has been a quarter dominated by Glenelg, but the thing is they were trailing by 17 points at quarter time.
Yeah, that's true.
So just 7 the margin at the moment. Bays finding, or the Bays fighting back and now find themselves a little bit on the back foot at the end of this quarter. Westies get the breakaway from the centre, and they'll go down towards half forward. Ball finds its way to Curran, shares the hand pass nicely with Bradley. Bradley chips it out wide for Chalmers. So Chalmers looks back towards the corridor, sits the ball up, and
brave
somehow it was brave and they got away with it. And now they can spread it to this side of the ground, and they do to Nicholson. He took a strong mark. That was contested as well. And it was good contesting from Zach Bates. Nicholson's kick down the line.
Well done, Jake Wilson, to be right on his man there and punch the ball away. Keeps the ball in the West Adelaide's forward half just.
Took it away from Jesse White. It's right in front of the race. Westies fans finding their voice after they've been stunned for most of this quarter. Unable to score. There was a throw in there. Umpire didn't spot it. He was on the blind side, back in the centre of the ground. Noble thrown down by Scharenberg, and that's prompted another scuffle between the players. Noble didn't appreciate that, and I must say it looked like a sling tackle that could have been rewarded with a free kick for Noble. Meanwhile, Middleton slips out a hand pass, and a couple of hand passes later, it's kicked into the middle of the ground by Jack Evans, and Westies have some run, and they give it to Hill, and then Hill to Porplesia. Porplesia goes to the pocket, and he looks for Carpenter. Ball comes to ground. Bays have the numbers. Proud just clears the area. It's going to come back again at right half forward. It's marked by Porplesia. So Porplesia takes his time, just drops the ball in short. And what have they got forward? Westies. Not a lot of tall players forward, so they go in board with a kick, and that sets up Glenelg to be able to tackle, and Motlop comes in, nails the tackle, looks at the umpire and says, come on.
That kick just has to hit, because if they mark it there, the next kick is a dangerous one inside 50. But it wasn't to be. But West Adelaide just a little bit more spring in their step since Isaac Rankin took that amazing mark and kicked the goal.
So the Bays share the ball through a couple of hand passes. It finally finds its way to Motlop. Spirals a kick to half forward. Terry Malira read it so well. He looks around and decides to go long inside forward 50. Hill will come across, knock it away for West Adelaide. Ian Malira puts on a tackle and slings his man Evans to ground. We'll get a ball up 40 out straight in front of the goal face for Glenelg, I should say, at that southern end of the ground. 26 minutes ticked over in this second quarter.
Yeah, once again, we see the value of a switch kick. If it hits, West Adelaide getting a scoring opportunity. It didn't hit, goes down the other end, and Glenelg get a scoring opportunity.
Motlop to Malira,
goal.
And Terry Malira rolls through his third goal of the night. And you go back to VV, who beautiful tap down.
Great ruck work.
And set up Motlop to give it to Malira. And as I said, Terry Malira with his third goal of the night. The Malira boys having a bit of a night out. That's 5 between them.
West Adelaide just a bit flat-footed around that stoppage in their back line, and the Maliras just need to have body on them all the time at the stoppage, and you know, they need to be paid really close attention. They're so dangerous at ground level, and they've hurt West Adelaide on the scoreboard tonight. There's no doubt about that, and with their forward pressure as well.
13 the margin now. It's Glenelg 9-4-58, West Adelaide 7-3-45, 27 minutes ticking over in this second term. VV out of the centre, roved his own ball, down to half forward for Glenelg. Motlop was held, umpire called play on. Porplesia picked the ball up, looked for Schiller, missed him, coming across Bradley for the Bays, intercepted off his left foot. Down the line he goes looking for Ian Malira. Did he pull it in inside the boundary? No. Umpire said it was one side of the boundary, then the other. It was a 2-grab mark. So we'll get a throw in, left half forward for the Bays.
West Adelaide need a clearance here. If it goes Glenelg's way, they're very dangerous once it gets inside 50. They've got Porplesia behind the ball though, which means they're going to have to be very careful going inside 50 because they'll be outnumbered themselves.
Schiller and Rankin combined to get the ball away for Westies, who go deep inside forward 50. Well, shallow really. Joseph takes a chest mark, relieves the pressure for the Bays. So what an interesting second quarter. What an interesting match we've got here at City Mazda Stadium. It's half-time and Glenelg 9-4-58, West Adelaide 7-3-45. So 13-point margin in favour of the Tigers, who were down by 17 points at quarter time. So an extraordinary game in many ways.
Yeah, no, Glenelg certainly deserved their lead. There's no doubt about that. They played the superior footy. They came out with a real venom in their step after quarter time. I dare say their coach, Mark Stone, gave them a little bit of a reminder of what they of increasing their intensity in their attack on the ball and the way they moved it and the pressure they needed to apply to West Adelaide, and they did all of that. To see Murray Waite, who was from the Murray Bushrangers, and as I said, recommended by the great Peter McIntyre.
Just while we got this chance, just before we resume here, if you haven't caught up with it, halftime at Cooper's Stadium, and it's Norwood 11-7-73 leading Port Adelaide 5-7-37. So that match looks well in the Redlegs' keeping as we're about to start the second half here at City Mazda Stadium, and we're not sure about which way this one's going to go. 13-point margin in favour of the Bays at the moment. Out of the middle, no clean possession yet. Schiller just smuggled it out, then VV, I should say, made the tackle for the Bays, and the big ruckman earns another ball up. So the two matches in the Maccas League tonight. No clearance from the stoppage. We'll get another ball up. Big tackle made that time by Stevens on Snook. Stevens of Westies, Snook of Glenelg. VV comes from behind, knocks it down, gets his own clearance then, just scrambles a little kick forward. Now a tackle made by Terry Malera. He's pulled the ball in, or has he, said the umpire? No, he's going to ball it up again. So
the Glenelg ruckman VV is so versatile, so agile. He jumps and then he gets his own ball at ground level. He's a really interesting player to watch.
Ball down again, and VV just on cue. He's down on his haunches trying to get it out. No clean possession. Finally it comes back. Might have been Scharenberg got it out of there for the Bays and forward. Defensive mark taken back there. Jake Wilson. Thanks, Mark. Just a couple of players hard to pick up for me out there. Not to mention the lights are pretty awkward as well.
No, you're doing well.
So the ball kicked out by Wilson out wide, and Amato comes away for the Bays from the stoppage and then kicks it forward, and Josh Scott takes a very, very strong mark and a four-man pack, and he'll go back and have a look at the goals to kick his third of the evening.
Yeah, he's one of the real good forwards in the competition, this guy. You saw him once again launch at the ball under pressure from the West Adelaide defender. I think it might have been Josh Ryan. Wasn't able to get the fist in, and he's taken a mark and he'll kick from about 40 metres. So I won't make any predictions about whether he kicks it or not, but he's a terrific player, and he's right in line for a state squad selection in a week's time.
So Scott comes in, trots up inside 50. His tail of his tape is to send the ball high. He does this time, and it's away. And was it through for the minor score? Yes, I think the goal umpire has signalled, and he will say it is a minor score. So Bays start the scoring for the second half, extend their margin to 14 points after just a couple of minutes.
West Adelaide got the right player kicking in. Jack Evans is good at finding a target, Jack.
He kicked it along. Now Bradley looked like he dropped the ball, but he picked it up again, gave it to Nicholson for the Bays, and they go back to the top of the square. Ball comes to the ground. Agostino couldn't find his way through. He tries again. Finally it comes out through a chain of hand passes and finds Hill, and he goes over the top, and they're going to clear their area through Stevens, who went high back towards half-back. Bays have the numbers. Proud picked it up. Good hand pass inside, found Nicholson. Good little dodge. Gave it to Snook. Left foot, 25 from goal. He finds the ball. And the mark taken there by Murray Waite.
Great pressure by John Noble. Then he just kept chasing and put enough pressure on to make the kick skewed inside Glenelg's 50.
Waite wide to Evans. And Evans just pokes the ball down the line. For Pleasure. His ball inside to Schiller. He was under a lot of pressure, but he did take the chest mark. They haven't advanced much. They're only just outside 50 at left half back out there on the scoreboard flank.
Not much attempt for West Adelaide to switch the play there. There was an opportunity for them to do so, but they've gone down the line and been rewarded by a really strong mark by McPherson, which is good to see. He doesn't take a lot of clunkers. So
McPherson down the line he goes, and he's looking for another clunk, and Beach almost gave it to him. Toe poke forward by, might have been Rankin who toe poked it forward. Then they get it further down towards Burgess. He breaks a tackle, gets around, and the ball smothered off the boot. Fighting again. Bays have numbers. In came Carpeney. Carpeney spun in the tackle, got the hand pass out. Rankin picked it up. He just sent a hand pass forward in hope. It found Beach. His kick was smothered. Basil come through. Well, in the end, it finished with Motlop, and the hand pass came out from Scharenberg, and the ball's still on the ground, and the Bays still fight away. And Amato tried to clear the ball, had a fresh air shot and trying to kick the ball in a tackle. It's come back to Westies. They have numbers around the ball again. Rankin over his shoulder and standing in the goal square. Bradley with the easiest of marks, a chest mark, and then he delivers wide for Slade, and then Slade goes short with his kick to Curran. So the captain for the Bays is right on his defensive 50.
Been a good player for a long time, Chris Curran for the Glenelg. Got a big motor and can play a running role or a defensive role.
VV middle of the pack as Curran kicks it forward. He couldn't take the mark. Here come Westies. It came out to Noble. He was tackled by Joseph. He couldn't get a clean disposal away. Bays working hard again. Finally, it's sprung free, and they find Motlop on the outside, who slips inside and slips a hand pass over the top. Wasn't the greatest of kicks that came off the boot of Close. They were down to half forward briefly, but they're going to be there again because the clearing kick from Westies only found Joseph. He's on centre wing on this, the grandstand side. Joseph decides, let's go back and around. He goes back to Curran. He takes the mark and goes out to Proud. He's at right half back. Well, Max Proud didn't like what he saw down the line. He tried to go back. Now he's forced to hand pass over the top. That's okay. Successful to Slade. Inboard he went. Mark taken by Scharenberg. Scharenberg down to half forward. Good lead up by White. Took the chest mark. Right half forward. Off a step. High and long he goes. Ian and Terry Malira combined, but the ball was rushed, and it was rushed from beyond the 10-metre square, I thought. And the umpire said, no, that's okay. So rushed behind for Glenelg, and their margin is 15 points.
West Adelaide got the ball back in really quickly now, and but Glenelg have pushed the numbers back, so they've held West Adelaide up again.
Westies out on the outer side of the ground, and Waite couldn't get possession, taking it over the line. So basically on centre wing, on the outer side of the ground, we'll get a throw in. Glenelg 9-6-60, West Adelaide 7-3-45. 6.5 gone in the third term.
Interesting start to the second quarter. Both teams trying to apply as much pressure as they can. Glenelg look like they've tried to continue on from where they left off, and West Adelaide have certainly lifted their intensity that they just got back just before half time.
Well, the Bays certainly tore apart Westies in that second term. Now, Snook on the ground for the Bays after the ball was thrown in. He's done some good work, and then he got the ball out, and it was a high tackle. And Curran will take the free kick for the Bays on centre wing. Nothing available immediately in board, even though he looks that way. Decides he's going to have to go down the line. He goes down the line and high. Scott was in the middle of the pack, falls to the back. Opportunity, no, for the Bays. Looked like it would be holding the ball. It was. Stevens comes away for Westies. Hand pass over the top, finds Noble. Gave it back to Stevens. Immediately he lost it in the tackle. Bays will get a chance to go forward again. And through Scharenberg, he goes short and finds Reynolds.
West Adelaide looked like they're going to run the ball out of there then, but Glenelg would have nothing of it, and they just kept chasing and forced the error. And now Glenelg reaped the reward with a mark from probably going to kick from about 48.
It's Hosey, in fact, the other man out there in a Bays jumper wearing long sleeves. So Hosey, he'll have to kick this 55. He jogs in, gets in just inside the 50. Boy, that's a strong and a straight kick. Lovely finish by Lachlan Hosey. And the Bays have the first major score of the second half. Glenelg moving along to 10-6-66. West Adelaide 7-3-45. 8 minutes gone in the third term.
Yeah, it's a real arm wrestle at the start of the quarter, and Glenelg just through good forward pressure, just chased out really hard and caused a turnover. West Adelaide will have to respond here. They won't want the gap to open up too big. They'll be looking for a centre clearance here and a quick response.
You'd have to say it's a long way back now for West Adelaide, trailing by 21 points. Out of the middle, just waiting for a definitive clearance, and it comes to Reynolds, and Reynolds clears it off the left foot, long inside 50, off the pack, brilliantly taken by Terry Malira. Turns on his left foot, didn't get the best purchase, but he found Hosey anyway. He had a fresh air and a tackle. Ball smothered off the boot, now comes to ground again. Westies have some numbers, take it towards the boundary line, and eventually picked up by Reynolds for Glenelg and just took it across the line for the throw-in, 25 around from the goal face, in the right forward pocket for the Bays.
Interesting there, the ball came in long. Malira went to the front of the pack. His West Adelaide opponent went to the back, and Malira ended up with the ball in a very dangerous situation.
So ball off the pack. There's Malira again, gathered it. Umpire said he ducked, so it was all play on. Westie's working hard, trying to get the ball out. Finally, it came to Hosey. He slipped it towards Snook. His kick was smothered. Umpire comes in eventually and says, give it to me. So it's near the top of the goal square. They need a ball up. Dangerous position for the Bays.
They've looked really dangerous in these situations during the night.
Well, it tapped straight towards the line, and it did bounce before it went over the line. McPherson's tap was, I think, deliberate towards the line, but he didn't hit it over the line on the full, so umpire is going to throw it in against the behind post in the right forward pocket for the Bays.
Every player in the forward half of the ground for Glenelg, Glenelg trying to keep the ball in the area, get multiple stoppages, and if possible, shots at goal. Well,
we're going to get that another stoppage now for the Bays. That's the thing, they talk about this at the AFL level, about being able, the pressure is increased, and that's one thing you can increase at a lower level. You can increase the pressure, but the skills perhaps are not quite there to be able to get out. Right now, Westies are really struggling. Schiller trying to force the ball forward. Thought he was taken down perhaps a little bit low by VV, but it wasn't to be the case. Umpire calls for the ball again. Westies have managed to get it 35 out from their goal face that they're defending. Ball down again. VV, centre of the pack. They force it forward, the Bays. And it comes back and all, trying to beat a tackle. Was that holding the ball? Yes, it was. Looked like it was Anderson trying to come out of there for Westies, and now there's a little bit of push and shove and afters. Just tried to push off his Bays player, and I think it might have been Josh Scott who's going to be rewarded for the tackle, and he'll go back and have a look at the goals for his third of the night.
Yeah, the West Adelaide player picked the ball. It might have been Aaron Anderson, and he tried to take off with it. He was under pressure right from the start. It might have just been better to bail out and put it on the boot and kick it long and high. Easy to say after the event, though. So
there's still a bit of a disagreement between few players, but Scott was quite content to go back, have a look at the goals, and from some 15, 20 metres out, slots a goal for the Bays, and boy, it's a really long way back for Westies now. 27 the margin. It's Glenelg moving along. 11-6-72, West Adelaide 7-3-45, 12 minutes gone in the third term.
Yeah, it looks like a difficult task for West Adelaide from here, but if they can just get 2 goals in a row, they're right back in it with plenty of time left. But at the moment, they're succumbing to the pressure that Glenelg are applying. Glenelg's pressure has been excellent, especially since quarter time, and they've gone on with it to start this quarter. So West Adelaide will need to put the pressure back on Glenelg and try and force the Mirrors to go their way.
Ball out of the middle. No clean possession. Finally, little hand pass slipped to Stevens. Might have come from, trying to pick up who that might have been. It might have been Tom Keogh, I think, who slipped it to Stevens, but he's tackled Westies. Now McPherson with a nice little tap down, and Portpleasure just clears it, boots it long, inside forward 50. Ball comes to the front. Rankin with a little toe poke. The numbers favour Glenelg.
Glenelg had an extra number behind that stoppage, and that served them well with that clearance. Going straight into the forward line.
Amato with possession, sent it wide, and now the head pass came inboard from Hawkins, and he found VV, but VV was backing up at a rate of knots and tackled over the boundary line right in front of the race. We'll get a ball thrown in. Halfway through the third term, Bays very much in control, 27 points clear.
West Adelaide got an extra one at the contest. Glenelg got an extra one behind the ball.
So that ball thrown in. And VV, gee, he does work hard, doesn't he? He was in there, and then he's back in, and then finally the ball got slipped out. Portpleasure at the bottom of the pack. Stevens couldn't handle the possession. It's come back for Malira, I think it is, at the bottom of that pack. And he's pulled down for the Bays, and we'll get another ball up. In fact, it wasn't Malira. It's way smaller than him. It was Nick Amato who was at the bottom of that pack. Now it's Motlop, shares a hand pass out for Scharenberg. His hand pass was loose and over the boundary line in the end, just before Batley got possession for Westies. So we get a throw in. again in front of the race. Westies fans staring at a loss, 27 points down.
Looks like I think Chris Curran loose behind the ball for Glenelg. West Adelaide need to make a 2-on-1 there.
2 ruckmen go to ground. It came off the back of McPherson. Paul Pleasure was held back without the ball. He'll take the free kick for Westies, and the fans have noticed that they've got a free kick against them far too often. So inboard he goes with the kick straight away to Hill. Hill takes the mark, plays on, kicks the ball long. Pack forms. Middleton, who took a strong mark in the opening quarter for a goal. In fact, within the opening 60 seconds or so, he's picked up the ball there and been immediately tackled. We'll get a ball up.
West Adelaide need to kick the ball short going inside 50, look for the lead up because they've got the extra player back, and just to bomb it in is playing into Glenelg's hands.
Carpeny taken to ground in a sling tackle. There's a Bay player down too, right on their defensive 50. Slow to get up, might pick up who that is in just a moment. Kick out of their defensive area. Numbers clash at the ball. And it was Aaron Joseph was the man who was down for the Bays, and he's still not 100% as he tries to pick his way back into position. Anyway, ball to be thrown, or rather, thrown back into play. Bays get a hand pass out and then go into the centre of play. Chalmers with or Hawkins with the ball, sorry, and then he goes down to half forward with his kick. He's looking for Ian Malira, who got rid of his man, took a bounce quickly. He's inside 50 and he is quick, and his kick was astray.
Difference between staying on your feet and falling over. Malira stayed on his feet, recovered the ball. The West Adelaide player fell over and was out of the contest.
28 points the margin, 15 minutes, third term, 28 points in favour of the Bays. And there'll be a last possession free kick now for the Bays, and it'll go to Bradley. So Bradley for the Bays, he's at left half forward. Just steps inside the line, called to play on, kicks it into the forward pocket. Huge leap in the middle of the pack, and it's pulled down, and it's young Hosey, Lachlan Hosey, with the long sleeves, taking a really good mark.
He was always in good position. He had the sit, just took 2 good steps, jumped up onto someone's back and just hung there, and that's why they call it a hanger. He grabbed it with one take. Great grab.
So Hosey on an acute angle, riding on the adrenaline of having taken that big pack mark, and he trots in and he sprays it out to the right. It stays to the right, and it's the minus score. So the Bays perhaps wasting a few opportunities here. They move along to 11 goals 8 to West Adelaide 7 goals 3. West Adelaide without a score so far in the second half. In fact, they've only scored 1 goal 1 since quarter time, and that was a bad kick in, and now they almost turn the ball over. They're under pressure deep in their own defence. They'll get a free kick though. Rewarded there for going in was Zach Bates. So Bates with a free kick for Westies, straight out in front of his own defensive goal, about 40 metres. He elects to come to the grandstand side of the ground.
Good body work, Chris Burgess, to allow John O'Beach to take that mark uncontested.
So Beach with the mark. Just drops it in short. Batley, who we know is quick, takes a mark, plays on, gets around one. Long kick down towards half forward. Bays have the numbers there at the base of the pack. Max Proud got the hand pass off to Bradley. High kick from his non-preferred left foot down to centre wing. Punch to the front. Came to Reynolds for the Bays. Slipped out a hand pass. Noble picked it up. He's immediately taken to ground. Bradley manhandled him and slammed him down. And that'll force a ball up. It's still at right half forward though for West Adelaide.
Glenelg have been relentless with their pressure since they've come out from half time. They've gone on with what they did in the second quarter. West Adelaide have found it hard to get any free ball at all.
Margin 29 points at the moment in favour of the Bays, and back into the centre of the ground, or at least into the corridor they try to get. And Nicholson it is this time with a nice tackle, and took Jack Evans to ground. So we get another ball up. Jesse White perhaps had the better of that. Paul Pleasure though roved it away from his Glenelg opponent. Little kick into just a little bit of space. Good pace being shown by Bates, but he can't get possession. Now he can. He picks it up, goes inside 50 off the left foot. Big numbers there. Ball comes to the front of the pack. Noble scrubs the ball forward. Bays have possession. Can they make the most of it? They do eventually through a Marto off his left foot. Knew he couldn't kick it out too close to the boundary, and that gives McPherson a chance to pick it up. He's taken away from the ball by Hosey for the Bays. But eventually numbers tell, and the Bays have the numbers, and Reynolds, who looked like he played on to advantage, and the umpire said, no, we'll bring it back for the free kick.
It's an interesting one, that, because he played on and it didn't work for him, so the umpire made the decision that was he could have another go. So
not sure if I agree with that umpiring decision. I would have said, well, you've taken, you knew you had the advantage and you played on. So Ian Malera, meanwhile, has the free kick. He thinks about going inside and then decides to go down the line. White couldn't take the mark, centre of the pack. It fell for Batley. His hand pass forward. He goes 1-2 and gets it back. And then inside forward 50. Wasn't the greatest of disposals. Well picked up, though, and Batley's going to get it back. And he's going to have a shot after Burgess gave it to him. But Max Proud, right on the last line of defence, takes the defensive mark for the Bays.
Burgess showing his versatility by going forward and coming out and getting that ball nice and clean. Just needed a better result from Batley's kick from only about 30 metres out.
Bays from half-back. Scharenberg shared it with Motlop. Motlop looks down towards centre wing. Ian Malera came late, straight into the back of his opponent. And umpire said, yes, that's a free kick. And that was brave too by
Lockie Evans.
Lockie Evans going back with the flight of the ball.
Kept his body in line with the ball.
Evans wide with the kick to Kane Stevens. Stevens down the line to Noble for the lead up and the mark. And that's clean possession that too often Westies haven't been able to get. Lead across half forward. So Noble drives it along into the pocket. Numbers favour again the Bays, and they used the body well. White took the mark.
Good protection for White off the ball.
White across goals to Evans, to Reynolds, and then they've got it out to centre wing. Terry Malera has taken control of the ball, held it up, and then he hand passed back inside. Close with the ball. He tries to screw it around the corner, not with great success. Middleton comes through for Westies. Immediately is slammed to the ground by Scharenberg. He'll take a free kick for holding the ball. He gave it off to Nicholson. Nicholson inside 50, and that was cut off as well. Good mark going back by Jake Wilson. And Wilson will get 25 as well, because I think it might have been Close who came across and just knocked the ball out of his hands after he'd cleanly taken the mark.
Wilson did well there. He got back really quick and prevented Malera from kicking the ball inside 50 initially, and then he took the intercept mark after that.
Wilson across the goal face finds Keogh, and Keogh from half-back right gave it down the line to Waite, and Waite does that. He holds and then he goes down the line with his kick. Wasn't the greatest lead from Rankin, didn't have enough space. Bays turn it over. They do pretty well through Bradley, inboard to Nicholson. Nicholson goes back inside defensive 50, but that's good because they found Curran. He's got an outlet to Reynolds. He's outside defensive 50 on the far side of the ground. He goes back into the corridor. They've got a man there in Shot, and then Shot goes out wide again. Bays starting to open up this play. Westie's starting to look like they haven't got what it takes to be able to come into this match. They're being moved around by the defensive kicking by Glenelg. At the moment, it's with Proud. Proud drops it in short.
West Adelaide have set up their press, and Glenelg were just happy to chip it around and keep possession, which is pretty smart given the lead they got, but they've forced long down the line now.
They go along down the line. The ball falls to the back. It's well taken by Reynolds. He dodges inside onto his left foot. Shocking kick down the line. But Ian Malera was good enough to take it. Shared the hand pass straight away with Snook. Into open goal, hooks it for the minus score.
Way too easy for Glenelg that time. They moved the ball really quickly. They had players loose. West Adelaide's defensive action was a little bit lame on that occasion. They need to lift in that area, and they need to get some pressure back on the ball and start to move it with a bit of authority, which might be happening right now.
Well, they've moved it quickly. Stevens with a great kick down the line to half forward. He finds Bates. Bates finding it hard to actually gather the ball in. And in the end, he's beaten by Amato, who gave it to Bradley, I think that was. And then away off the left foot, he found Nicholson. So the Bays repel again, and they repel pretty well. And Nicholson goes for the lead up of Snook, who had that last shot at goal. And on centre wing, he pulls down the mark.
Yeah, Zach Bates just dropped a simple mark then, and then he couldn't pick it up off the ground. It was really a set-up goal for West Adelaide, but a skill error cost them dearly, and now it's come back the other way with interest.
Shot takes a mark at half forward, looks inside, sends it along. Another big leap by Hosey. He comes to ground without the ball. It's in possession of Westies. They try to clear their area. They do it pretty well in the end. Logan Hill, but Hill's kick back to centre wing only finds Josh Scott. Scott with a mark. He can go across the ground. He does so. Sends it along. Dangerous kick. Umpire said front on contact was made there by Keogh. So it'll be turned over to the Bays anyway. They've gone from this grandstand side to virtually the other side of the ground to their skipper and Curran, who goes back inboard. They're just taking their time. Slade with the mark, comes to this side of the ground again. Amato down the line. He had one loose in Scott.
They're making West Adelaide come to them and to create holes in behind, which is pretty smart play.
Save for the fact they ran out of time. So three-quarter time, and you'd have to say the Bays have played it pretty well thus far. They were 17 points down at quarter time. They led by 13 at half time, and now at three-quarter time it's Glenelg 11-9-75 with a 30-point lead over West Adelaide 7-3-45.
Yeah, West Adelaide had some opportunities that quarter, but not a lot, and they probably could have done a bit more with a few of them, especially that last foray into their forward line where it's good, but it's not outstanding. It's just the way Glenelg have combined as a team. They've really shared the ball. They've used it much better than West Adelaide after quarter time, and their pressure has been enormous, and that 15 difference in tackling tells that story. But I'll be very surprised if West Adelaide don't come with some sort of a response, at least in the first part of this quarter.
Just a quick score from across at Cooper's Stadium in that match between the traditional rivals Norwood and Port Adelaide, and it's still in the third quarter there in time on. 13-9-87 for Norwood. Port Adelaide's come back a bit, 7-9-51, but still 6 goals the margin in favour of the Redlegs across there at Cooper's Stadium. Right here, we're just about right now ready to start the final quarter. And the moon slowly rising. It looks like a blood moon, although it won't be a blood's night, I can tell you that, because it's a 30-point margin in favour of the Tigers at three-quarter time. We get it underway in the final quarter. McPherson with a nice tap down, picked up by Beach, who's been thrown into the centre. Schiller then had it. Then he gave it to Stevens. McPherson. They're going around and around and around, and McPherson threw the ball, and we have a free kick for the Bays for persistence to Nick Amato. So Amato out of the middle on the left foot, goes long and deep, looking for Scott. Ball comes to the front. Brilliantly roved by Ian Malera. Gets it up towards the goal face. There's no clean possession there for White. Comes to Scott, though, for the Bays. He's tackled. He's gone to ground. Oh, and it looked like he took out the legs of Hosey. The umpire called play on, or rather it was Reynolds, as he dived in over the ball. In any case, the area is cleared by Westies. And now Noble with a tackle over the top. It'll be holding the ball.
So they need to get the ball moving. They need to switch the play, make something happen. They don't have to kick 3 goals in 2 minutes, but they've got to get the ball moving with a little bit more purpose. And that's the right idea, but the execution was poor. Noble
went for the corridor with his kick, and his chip kick missed his target. A little too high. Now the Bays have come in, forced the ball up. Ian Malera was the man. So we get a ball up inside the corridor, inside the centre square, about 5 or 10 metres away from the centre circle. Bays can't get a clean possession. Scharenberg just lost it. It came out to Schiller. He released it to McPherson. McPherson clears the area for Westies. Down to half forward. Strong mark taken. Going back there for Glenelg. Just can't pick up that player either. Not sure that number's in my book at the moment. But anyway, the ball wide and over the boundary line. Snook with the tackle on his opposition player, Waite. So we'll get the ball thrown back into play. So it's at left half forward for Westies. It's been laborious, a lot of the build-up for West Adelaide since quarter time. McPherson with a tap down to Schiller. Schiller tumbles a punt towards the top of the 50. Ball's punched out of there by the Glenelg defenders with his head down and not rewarded with a free kick was shot. Westies get the ball away. It comes to Stevens. Stevens inside 50. He sends it high. Proud was there with a punch for Glenelg. Now he picks up a crumb and shares the ball around. Little hand pass found Chalmers, and Chalmers was slung to ground. Had to give it away, and then Proud's kick was also ineffective, and he pushes his man Middleton over the line, and Middleton comes back. He didn't get the free kick, but he wanted a word with Max Proud.
Bit better pressure from the West Adelaide forwards than to hold the ball in. They just a little bit of an increase in intensity. Just see if they can get rewarded for that.
Right in front of the scoreboard that shows it's a long way back. 11-9-75, Glenelg. Westies 7-3-45. Ball back into play. McPherson won the tap down. It came to Stevens. He gave it out. Finally, it came back to Hill. the hand pass there, and Hill went long with the kick down the line. Inside 50 it went, but it's come back just as quickly. Snook with a little hand pass was good to Bradley for the Bays. Bradley comes to this side of the ground, finds Curran. Well handled by Curran, immediately played on, back towards the corridor. Snook, he goes back. No, in fact, it's not Snook. They both got that headband. It fools me every time. Snook's the target down the line for Scharenberg, and Snook was pushed in the back, and he'll take a free kick. So he's between centre wing and half forward, plays on, goes inboard and high. And there should be a mark taken. In fact, Reynolds spilt what he should have taken. He had 2 grabs of it. Now he's dived on the ball and he's tackled, and the umpire lets it go on. And the ball's flung forward, and here's the other man with the long sleeves, Hosey, and that was one of the worst snaps you'll ever see. He had it in the right forward pocket. He tried to get it to the foot quickly. It went straight up in the air about 5 metres and over the boundary line on the full. So a free kick to be taken by Westies deep in defence.
West Adelaide got out of jail free there because Reynolds dropped a mark uncontested. He had a mark that was 15 metres out straight in front, so a bit of luck going West Adelaide's way.
Westies get the ball to Schiller, shares it to Hill. Hill's kick, though, was under pressure and high. Wasn't the greatest of kicks, but Noble makes the most of it, bursts through. He's got virtually nobody in front of him, though. He has to go sideways. Westies had cleaned out their forward line. He put it into the path of Beach. He was taken to ground. He's fighting hard against 2. Beach will not get a free kick, but he gave it back to Noble, who'd backed up his kick pretty well. And then his kick to Rankin inside 50 is marked on the chest. So Isaac Rankin will go back and have a look at the goals. He's perhaps 40 metres out, the man on the mark, and Rankin will go back outside 50, nearly to the boundary line.
What a work rate from John Noble then to break the ball from half back, run his 30 or 40 metres and then chip it in front and then get it back again to create this opportunity.
Rankin comes in, starts it on the right post, it stays there, so a minor score for West Adelaide. Hallelujah, that's their first score of the second half.
Yeah, well, that's the way the game's gone, but West Adelaide just a little bit of spark this quarter. You hope that they'll go on with it in that regard. Whether they can win the game is another thing, but if they keep playing with this a little bit more intensity, they're going to be a chance.
Well, kick in, and Middleton almost took the mark, and Westies get a chance again to go inside their attacking 50, but they'll be repelled, and it's away towards centre wing from the ruckman. Vivi comes to the ground. Jesse White fighting on hard for the Bays, trying to knock it out. He's still over the ball. He's got a couple around him, but he's done pretty well. Then he's dragged it in. What does the umpire think of this one? The Westies fans want a free kick. They're not going to get it. So they'll get a ball up. That was good work from Big White to fight on.
He held his body over the ball and they couldn't get hold of it.
Push off by Stevens away from the ruck contest. It's pretty well done. And then he gave it out by hand to Agostino, down to half forward to Beach. Took the mark in stride, and then he decided to play on. He went long to the goal face. From behind, the ball was knocked down by Max Proud, but he only knocked it as far as Keogh, and the skipper for Westies kicks Westies' first goal of the second half. It's been a long time coming. We've gone through 6 minutes of the final quarter, and it's Glenelg 11-9-75, West Adelaide 8-4-52.
Yeah, West Adelaide have come with a little bit more venom this quarter. Really good crumb off hands by who kicked that goal?
Keogh.
By Keogh, a big fella doing the crumbing work and got on his left foot. And just before, that play by John Noble before, I know Isaac Rankin missed the goal, but it's inspirational for the rest of the team. So just some signs that they're just edging their way back with their intensity.
Margin cut to 23 points, but the Bays get the ball first use out of the middle. And Stevens, though, working overtime for West Adelaide. He's been very, very good, you'd have to say.
Played very well.
His chip wide finds Beach. His kick down the line in front of the race. Brilliantly picked up by Keogh. Got rid of his man. Inspirational stuff from the skipper. Sends it down the line and high. And that's a nice mark taken by Max Proud defensively for the Bays. And he goes back inside defensive 50 because they want to spring the ball from one side to the other. He goes back to Slade. His kick wasn't brilliant, but it was good enough. And now they're outside 50 to Snook. Takes the mark, plays on. Running for him was Curran. Back to Snook, the left footer. He goes wide out on that wing and finds White.
Good defensively by West Adelaide there to hold them up. They've found another crack in
big crack. A big crack, in fact, shot with the mark. Down the line went White, and then shot gave it to Malera. That was Ian Malera. Hand passed it off to Reynolds, and Reynolds, or rather Hosey it is, the other man with the long sleeves. And Hosey snapped the easiest of goals, 2 for him. And there was an answering goal for the Bays. That's their 12th of the night. It's 12-9-81. West Adelaide 8-4-52.
Yeah, too easy that time. It looked like West Adelaide had held them up, but all that happened was the Glenelg player with the ball was just waiting for something to open up, and it did open up because the West Adelaide defence had a big hole in it, and they were able to enter the 50 way too easily. You know, that was a goal that West Adelaide didn't need, and Glenelg was just steady again to maintain that 5-goal margin.
8 minutes in, final quarter. Tigers 12-9-81. West Adelaide 8-4-52. Out of the middle, VV again doing so well, and then slipped a hand pass as he went to ground. It's the only thing prevented a genuine clearance from the centre ball.
Yeah, VV might not be winning all the hitouts, but he's certainly winning a lot of ball at ground level. He's like having an extra on-baller in the midfield. And McPherson, you know, hasn't been disappointing at all, but he's just not as agile, as his second efforts aren't quite the same.
And then VV just emphasised his dominance. He just took that ball out of the ruck and just barreled the ball down to half forward. No clean possession for the Bays. However, we'll get another ball up and another stoppage. And given their dominance of the stoppages, you would think, again, this suits the Bays.
Yeah, no doubt about that. They'll be looking for repeat stoppages. West Adelaide want the ball in space. They want it moving quickly their way. Glenelg aren't letting it happen.
No clean possession, but finally it comes to West Adelaide. And then Bradley made a pretty good tackle there, as it looked like it may come to Stevens and he might be able to break away. And then when he didn't get the breakaway, it came to Bates and he couldn't get clear either. So we get a throw in now. It's at right half forward for the Bays. On this grandstand side, they're kicking to the southern end of City Mazda Stadium. Ball back into play. Good attack on the ball from Westies. And good tackle there in response as Stevens tried to break through. And so we'll get a ball up again.
It's all playing into Glenelg's hands, multiple ball ups. West Adelaide want the ball in some space and Glenelg is just bottling it up.
VV was involved again, then off the ground Bradley just soccers it forward. Ian Malera tried to get away from Hill, and Hill came back at him again. He did very well and then slipped the left foot onto the ball. Mark taken by Anderson, spreads it to the middle of the ground to Beach. Beach wants to send it to the far side. He does it pretty well. They're running off half back through Wilson. Wilson looks down towards half forward. His spearing kick, well, he didn't quite find his man Burgess, but he took it well on the half volley. Hand passed it outside, and a chance for a mark, and it is a mark too. It's well done. Bates just judged the ball so well, and in the end, it was virtually an uncontested mark taken at the top of the goal square. So it should be Westie's second goal of this last quarter. In fact, second goal of the second half.
It was just exactly how they needed to play there. Out of that stoppage, they switched the ball into the corridor. Risky kick, Aaron Anderson, but it came off. And before you knew it, they were running from defence with Jake Wilson. And they got the ball 15 metres out straight in front for a goal.
So there's a much-needed goal for Westies through Bates. And they come back at Glenelg. We're 11 minutes into the last quarter. Glenelg 12-9-81. West Adelaide moving along to 9 goals for 58.
Next goal really important. If West Adelaide can score the next one, the local support and the momentum will be back in their favour, and anything can happen from there. But they need to get consecutive goals. So this centre bounce is really crucial. Whoever gets a clearance.
Margin back to 23 points. So yeah, it's not an insurmountable margin, you'd have to say. There's still half of the last quarter to go. Scharenberg couldn't quite get clean possession, towed forward by Amato, but picked up by Agostino for West Adelaide. Agostino received it back as he peeled around the back of Waite, and then he went out to centre wing, outer side of the ground. Well done, well picked up by Anderson, looking for an option, does it well to Noble at half forward. Noble looks up, inside or not quite inside 50. Off to Paul Pleasure. Paul Pleasure plays on straight away. There might be a free kick just outside the goal square. Umpire has called play on. Curran took the mark and played on, went across the goal face for the Bays to Reynolds. So Reynolds has the ball in his hands. Down the line he goes for White. Good mark in front of the eyes, ahead of Batley. He's outside to, or just standing Batley on the mark, just outside defensive 50 for the Bays.
Big unit, Jesse White.
And he showed there, reaching out in front of him, that was good. He went down the line with the kick. It's off hands near the boundary line, and standing up, Anderson forced backwards a yard or two, and we'll get a throw in right in front of the West Adelaide bench. Must be still an element, you can tell, I think, down there. There's still an element of belief that Westies could snatch this one. Still a long way back, 13.5 minutes into the final quarter, down by 23 points. Westies going forward, not quite. Couldn't get a clean possession there. Hosey, or rather Reynolds, came through. And then he couldn't get a clean possession. And then Stevens grubber to kick forward. Paul Pleasure, brilliant pickup. Hand pass off to Bates. Bates goes to goal, lifts the entire crowd. Brilliant finish. But what made it was a clean, quick, sharp decision made by Paul Pleasure. The hand pass found Bates, and he was good enough to kick the goal. So let's look at that goal situation now on the scoreboard. Glenelg 12-9-81. Westies 10-4-64, 14 minutes gone.
Yeah, the class Paul Pleasure showed there. That's years of AFL football and training just to know that he can take the ball so clean and then slip it to the running player into some space, and Zach Bates made no mistake with the finish. Great play from the stoppage. They're right back in it, I reckon.
And if my scoring serves me correctly, Bates becomes the first multiple goal kicker for West Adelaide on the night. 9 goal kickers, he's the first one to score more than the single. Out of the middle, Bays with possession, high tackle, Scharenberg down. Stevens immediately there to apologise. Sorry, didn't mean to coat hanger you. Scharenberg gets up, and he almost got himself lost around the ball. Now he gives it to Bradley with a forward hand pass. Bradley down to half forward. Good stretch by Terry Malira. No mark though, said the umpire. Batley to ground for Westies, and then tackled, and he's not going anywhere. We'll get a ball up. Inside attacking 50 for the Bays, right half forward.
Really good spoil there by, not sure if it was Hill or Jack Evans on Malira.
So ball down and knocked wide for the Bays towards the boundary line. Picked up by Carpeny. He did well, stayed in board, but then he was tackled. And I think it'll be Motlop. It will be Motlop for Glenelg. He'll take the free kick. Motlop delivers to the pocket. Almost a Scott. Geez, brave Scott. He has people falling on him and over him and around him all the time.
Yeah, he's a great competitor.
So Westies take a free kick. And the ball down looking for Keogh. Ball comes to ground. And it finds its way out to Carpeny. And then Carpeny running, gives it to Noble over the top. And then he gave it outside. And a brilliant piece of work there by Chalmers. Takes it away from Keogh just when he thought he was about to run down the ground. So the Bays get it back towards half forward. And now this is a real contest. 17 points the margin. We're 16.5 minutes into the final quarter.
Good pressure by both teams there. Both teams prepared to chase and apply the pressure and tackle hard.
It was Terry Malira with a hand pass forward, found White, stood up in the tackle, released the ball finally. Batley then slipped a hand pass out for Westies. Paul Pleasure couldn't handle it, went back on the ground and took possession again. Umpire calling play on. Players smashing in at the moment. We'll get another ball up.
We've got a contest in our hands now. Glenelg know that West Adelaide have just got a little bit of momentum going their way, and they're fighting really hard to wrest that momentum back.
Right half forward for the Bays. 3-1 in the final quarter in favour of Westies, who trailed by 30 points at three-quarter time. Bays with no clean possession away. Umpire said that's because you dropped it. So the free kick will go against Jesse White, the former Sydney Swan and Collingwood player. And it'll be Bates, who's kicked a couple of goals in this last quarter, to take the free kick for West Adelaide. The left footer, right in front of the Westies grandstand. Not the greatest of kicks, and it might land just on the playing side of the line, off the pack, off Nicholson, and then over the boundary line for the throw-in.
Exactly the same position for which West Adelaide scored their last goal. If they can get it away from here with a bit of clean ball movement, that'll mean a lot.
VV, great work in the ruck, and there was an in-the-back decision. Will go to Glenelg. Snook was taken to ground, tackled as he got the ball, and surely that'll be 25. There's a player injured, and that's why the umpire's holding up play, and it's Middleton. Oh, no, it's not. It's Carpeny. A little bit smaller than Middleton, but still with a man do. So Snook goes back defensively to Bradley inside defensive 50, and then they sweep it wide for Slade. And Slade keeps it out on the far side to Nicholson. So the Bays have moved it from this broadcast side of the ground out to the eastern side of the ground. Nicholson called to play on now. Sends it high and long, and VV, well, he made a contest, and that's forced the spoils, and it's come to the back of the pack. It was picked up by shot down to half forward. Wasn't fantastic, but they have still got control of Bays, and they're now inside 50, and standing there was Ian Malera. He took a chest mark, and he took the punishment, and he will go back, have a look at the goal face from 35 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, they've got plenty to kick to up there. The Maleras, Josh Scott, Jesse White, they've all come into the game at crucial times, and especially since quarter time. Their percentage of scores for inside 50s has been pretty sound all night, and once again they've spotted up a target, and they're going to have a shot for goal from about 35 metres.
Well, if you look at Ian Malera's run-up, he's taken it all of about, well, I think he's 60 metres from goal is where he's going to start his running.
Yeah, seen a bit of Michael Holding in his time, I reckon.
Michael Holding. Seeing him in 75-6, I thought, who's this guy pushing off the side screen just about at the Gabba? So in comes Ian Malera. He sprays the ball across the goals, and in the end, big punch coming from Josh Ryan forces the minor score. So just the Bays' second score of this last quarter. Goes to Ian Malera. Not the greatest of kick-ins for the Bays, hence Mark's reaction, or rather for Westies, and it's come to Scharenberg, who snaps for goal, and Scharenberg with the minor score as well. So the Bays a couple of points in a minute. They move the margin out to 19 points, which I guess is, you know, perhaps a couple of good points in some ways as we go into time on in the last quarter. 19 the margin. This time's better from Westies. Umpire won't allow play on advantage, and it'll be Stevens forced back behind the mark, stabs the ball into the corridor to Noble. Noble releases it to the far side of the ground, looking for a runner. He didn't find him. Curran for the Bays instead. Hand pass over the top, Terry Malera. Terry Malera goes down the line looking for his brother Ian. It's taken away from him by Westies, number 17 in Port Pleasure. They share the ball through their hands back in their defensive 50. Back to Ryan, and then they'll come to this side of the ground, and they do eventually. A little bit of a fumble, but the mark was taken by Waite in the end. So he holds up play, and because they've moved it so quickly, they didn't have much down the line. They go to McPherson, it comes off hands. The Bays had the numbers on the ground. It went across to Snook from Nicholson, and originally from Amato, and inside 50, it's a chest mark taken by Hosey. He'll go back and have a look at the goals.
Hosey was standing there unattended for a long time. A little bit of ball watching going on there from West Adelaide defenders, and leaves Hosey taking a simple mark on uncontested about 40 metres out.
So this could, for all intents and purposes, end the contest really. So Hosey to come in from, he'll kick from about 40, starts it on the centre of the goals and hits the left post. So still there's a chance. Wait on that. It was Paul Pleasure who took the quick kick in.
Too quick.
Well, I don't understand that. The ball came off the post, it bounced down to Paul Pleasure, and the umpire had signalled, and now he says, no, you've got to take the ball behind the goals.
Should have been play on if he signalled.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Paul Pleasure brings the ball in, goes long to the far side of the ground. Batley knocks it to ground. It comes to Noble. He's been industrious this whole game. Shared the hand pass wide. Then they go down the line to Batley. They want to move it now. This is the most urgent they've been all night. And it's proven costly, really, because the Bays have been more proactive. And the ball goes down the line. And the Bays are able to take a defensive mark.
Yeah, you can't afford to get out-marked in that situation. You've just got to bring it to ground and let the West Adelaide Crummers do the job.
That's Slade over there. So he just chips it wide. They're just taking some time off the clock. Motlop with the mark. Left half back, 5 or 10 metres in from the boundary line out there on the eastern side of the ground. He goes back to the big man in Proud, and then he goes further back to Bates, to Slade again, who goes back to Proud. So they wax and wane, and Max Proud will be happy. He doesn't get that many statistics, but he's got a couple of marks and a couple of kicks out of that. Here's his second kick, goes down the line, and ball close to the line and over the line, and we'll get a throw in. Left half back for the Bays out there on the outer side of the ground. That scoreboard again. West Adelaide trailing the Bays. The Bays 12-12-84. Westies 10-4-64. As you said earlier, Mark, 24 shots at goal to 14 probably tells the story of the game.
It does, and West Adelaide been quite accurate. Glenelg a little bit inaccurate, so it could be a lot bigger margin. But still, West Adelaide, if they could get some clean ball movement going from this situation right now, they are. It's not out of the question, but they've struggled to get the ball from coast to coast all night.
Well, they move the ball into the centre of the ground at the moment. Now it's up for grabs, and Motlop took it and then released it, but Noble picked it up for Westies. Hand pass off to Beach. Hand pass to the run of Paul Pleasure. Gee, smooth moving. I don't know that was the greatest of kicks, but he hooked it back into the corridor. It comes off hands. Keogh picks it up on 50, sprays the ball wide straight away, and they might be in with a chance here from Batley, who had a little bit of a stumble, I think, just as he kicked the ball away to the right for the minus score for Batley for Westies. Margin back to 19 points in favour of the Bays.
It was a big play, that one. If he puts that one through, it's game on. But Glenelg take possession, and they'll be trying to slow it right down and run the clock down now.
The Bays forced a kick down the line. And again, good work from the ruckman, VV. He got it out to Proud, cleared the area, down to centre wing. Ball bounced pretty well for the Bays, or does it? It just got away from shot, and then he managed to pick it up, went inboard to Snook. Snook inboard again with a hand pass to Motlop. Motlop gets around one, takes a bounce. He's in front of the square now, and he goes long to the goal face. A brilliant kick. And running back with a flight of the ball at the top of the square. The mark is taken by Terry Malira, and this will be game over. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, West Adelaide had committed numbers forward offensively there, and probably a little bit slow to react once the ball was neutral or once it got into Glenelg's hands. And as you see, the easy over the back goal was well executed by Glenelg's midfield.
So Terry Malira to shoot for his 4th goal of the night. He makes no mistake. And, well, it was all over regardless of that kick, because there's the siren. And so the Bays had full time. They come away with a nice win. 13 goals, 12.90. West Adelaide 10-5, 65. And that last quarter didn't last long, just over 25 minutes.
No, not a high scoring one, but West Adelaide came out with a bit of a yelp, and they needed everything to go right for them to get up and win, but that wasn't the case. Glenelg hung in there well enough and applied enough pressure, and were able to still use the ball a little bit better than West Adelaide.